Enter, if you dare, chapters 19 through 20 of the book of Judges, where lies a narrative so disturbing that some hesitate to explore it fully. This Old Testament account transcends the pages of the Bible, entering dark and disconcerting territory. It is a story that challenges our moral understanding and shakes the most sensitive fibers of conscience. Before proceeding, I warn you that reading it is not appropriate for all ages and may awaken emotions linked to past traumas. However, in this dive into chapters 19 to 20, we will seek to extract profound lessons that reverberate through time, challenging us to reflect on human nature and divine grace. Allow me to guide you through the lines of this narrative, where thick shadows intertwine with crucial lessons that echo across the ages. There was a narrative in the Old Testament that, to be completely honest, I find the most disturbing in the entire Bible. It could even be classified as unsuitable for minors. Before continuing, I want to ensure that you are aware that this account is not suitable for all ages and may trigger emotions related to past trauma. The story in question is in chapters 19 to 20 of the book of Judges. Many know chapter 19, but few delve into the entire narrative. I believe there are crucial lessons we can all draw from such a disturbing story. Allow me to walk you through Judges, chapter 19. In the days when there was no king in Israel, a Levite lived in a remote area of the mountainous country of Ephraim. He acquired a woman from Bethlehem in Judah to be his concubine. Their relationship became troubled when the woman was unfaithful and left him, returning to her father's house in Bethlehem, where she stayed for 4 months. The story continues with the Levite deciding to get his wife back. He travels from the north, where he lives, to the south, in Bethlehem, to look for the woman. However, upon arrival, he finds resistance to being hosted. Only an elderly man, at the end of the night, offers shelter. However, tragedy unfolds when evil men from the city surround the house and demand that the Levite be handed over so they can sexually abuse him. The host shockingly offers his virgin daughter and the Levite's concubine instead. The story reaches a devastating point when the concubine is raped and abused all night. At dawn, they release her, and she returns to the Levite's house, collapsing at the door. Unfortunately, she does not respond when he calls her in the morning, as the woman had died due to the terrible abuse she suffered. The narrative continues with the Levite, upon returning home, making an even more disturbing decision. He cuts the concubine's body into 12 pieces and sends each part to the 12 tribes of Israel, along with a letter detailing the atrocity committed. This story, as mentioned previously, can be considered disturbing and impactful, especially when reflecting on the suffering inflicted on the woman. However, I want to highlight some exciting lessons we can draw from this account. Responsibility and accountability. When we live in periods without leadership or accountability, we can be prone to serious deviations. The lack of fear of being responsible for our choices can lead us to unthinkable decisions. Valuing the image of God in every human being, disrespect for the life and virtue of others is evident when the host offers the Levite's daughter and concubine as replacements. We must see each person as bearing the image of God, avoiding attitudes that belittle the dignity of others. Consequences of moving away from God. The gradual turning away from God, as evidenced throughout the book of Judges, makes people more susceptible to unimaginable actions. Staying close to God is vital to avoid harmful deviations. Chain of bad decisions. Each bad decision often triggers others. The story of the Benjamites involves not only their bad choices, but also the reactions of the other tribes, creating a chain of tragic events. God's grace in the midst of destruction. Even in the face of destructive decisions, God remains gracious. The story ends with the reconstruction of the tribe of Benjamin, showing that, despite the consequences, there is room for restoration. As we ponder this intense story, it is crucial to remember that regardless of the choices we make, God offers grace and the possibility of restoration. Responsibility, valuing others, and the constant search for closeness to God are essential lessons that we can extract from this impactful story. In short, the narrative highlights the importance of responsibility and accountability in our actions, warning about the dangers that arise when these principles are neglected. The emphasis on valuing the image of God in every human being highlights the need to treat others with dignity and respect. turning away from God is portrayed as a dangerous path, which can lead to harmful decisions and a chain of disastrous events. The story of the Benjamites vividly illustrates how poor choices can trigger devastating consequences, not only for the individuals involved, but also for the surrounding communities. Yet even in the midst of destruction, the narrative highlights the continued presence of God's grace and the possibility of restoration. It is a call to reflect on the decisions we make and the impact they can have not only on our lives, but also on the lives of those around us. The final lesson is the hope that even amid the consequences of our actions, divine grace provides an opportunity for reconstruction and renewal. Thus, responsibility, empathy, and the constant search for the presence of God emerge as fundamental values to guide our choices and lead us to a path of restoration. Big hugs and see you in the next video on the channel.